Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I hope that you like what you're about to see and that you subscribe. I just wanted to say a quick hello. I'm on my way out the door. My friend is here. Say hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
So anyway, today I just made a mixed media art piece. I guess you could call it altered art because the center of it is someone else's painting. There she is. And just a print from a calendar. But anyways, it's sort of a shabby chic kind of thing, and a lot of it was made out of things that normally would be thrown away. So I consider it to be a trash to treasure project. I hope that you guys enjoy this, and I think that's all I have to say. I'm gonna go out with this crazy girl now. Uh, have a good day, everyone, and make sure you find some time to waste some talent.
So our first piece of trash is this black frame that I'm working on here. This was actually part of an old clock that was falling apart and was really outdated and not very pretty. So it was going in the trash, and I rescued this scrolly part from it, and I'm using it as a frame. And I'm just gluing some wood half beads on it to give it a little more flair. Those were purchased on Amazon. And then our second piece of trash is this picture that was taken out of a calendar. And yes, it is a calendar from 2000. So my mom had cut this out and held on to it for 22 years. And so when she saw the frame, she was like, "Oh, those pictures I cut out of the calendar will fit in there. Would you please put one in there for me?" So of course I said I would. And this is actually not the picture that we end up with at the end. She had more than one, and after I had mounted this, she decided she liked the other one better. So you will see a different angel later, but the process is exactly the same. So all I had done was put some Mod Podge on the back of the picture, and then I'm sticking it to a piece of cardboard. It's just some packing material, but it's about the thickness of a cereal box. And then I'll use my brayer just to make sure it's nice and flat. And you'll notice I am not Mod Podging on top. That helps to not get air bubbles. And then I'm taking some chalk paint by Waverly. This is in the color Plaster, and I'm going to paint my frame. And I do give this 2 coats. Now that that's done, I'm going to glue my angel down. So I'm going to use E6000 so that it's got a nice permanent hold. But I will also use some hot glue to stick it down as well so that I have a more immediate hold to be able to continue working on it quicker. See, here's our other angel and a lot of my hair. So I'm going to go on the back and fill in that hole where the clock hands were. I don't know why. I just felt like it might help the picture stick on better or something. I don't know if it mattered. Anyway, now that that's done, I'm going to take some antique wax by Waverly, and I'm just going to age up the frame a bit. Give it a little bit more dimension and bring out some of that pretty detail. And I'm going to go back to this ribbon in a second. I'm just showing you that I'm measuring it so that it fits the length of the picture. Now these little metal pieces are book corners. I got them on Amazon, and I'm using E6000 to make sure they stay on. I will crimp them with the pliers as well, but that's not enough on its own to keep them on there, so I'm using this E6000. And I actually should have waited to do this at the end so that I could crimp them over the backing of the picture as well, which I did not do, so that was my mistake. So remember, if you're using these and you're going to be backing something, put them over everything, the backing and the picture, not just the picture. You'll see why later. And now I'm going to glue that lace down that I was just cutting up a minute ago. My editing's so great, isn't it? Anyways, I'm using E6000 to stick this down, and I just cut the corners at an angle so that they come together a little more neatly when they're all on there. And this ribbon came from Dollar Tree. It's usually in the garden section. I'm pretty sure they have it year round. I'm not overly worried about, cutting my ribbons straight or gluing things on straight or anything like that, because this is aged in Shabby Chic, so any little imperfections are just going to make it look more shabby. And there it is with all of the lace. Now I'm taking some bronze paint and I'm painting this bead string. This I got on Amazon, and the only one I have is white, and I wanted a darker color to match those book corners. So I put a little bit of bronze and then gold, and then I'm going to take my archival inks and age that up a bit so it's more like an antique bronze. And when that's done, I'm going to alternate E6000 and hot glue to, excuse me, to stick that down around the edges. Now some more trash is coming into play. These were given to me by someone at my work, and I'm going to take the strings out and save those for another day. And I'm going to use a seam ripper to separate all the seams so that I get a nice big flat piece of fabric. And then I'm going to iron out the creases and wrinkles. And I got to use my brand new Cricut mini iron for the first time, and it worked quite well. And then I just cut strips to the size that I wanted. I should have been more careful about where I had my seams, because they do show in the front, but I do hide them and you don't end up really noticing them later on. But I should have paid more attention and kind of tried to hide them as much as possible. And to stick that down, I did just use some Fabri-Tac glue and then a little bit of hot glue to get that immediate hold. Don't mind my fingernail, that's just some paint on there. Now I'm taking a brown wash and going into the little crevices to age this up a bit. The brown wash that I use is the recipe by Black Magic Craft. If you look up his black wash recipe, he also talks about brown wash. It's the same thing, only you use brown and not black. But anyways, moving on. This is a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera, and if it was not the right colors for what I wanted, so I'm using my archival inks to get the color that I want. And I had decided to glue this on in the bottom left corner because this angel picture is a up-close crop of a larger painting. So there is a bit of another angel or something sticking out on the bottom over there, and I didn't like how that looked. And I'm just using Mod Podge to put this on there. And I'm taking another Tim Holtz ephemera and I'm just going to age that up as well. I'm going to ink it like I did with the flowers. And I will also ink the back because I'm going to be curling over the corners, and I want to make sure that those corners look nice when they're curled over. And I'm just using a barbecue, like kebab skewer to curl the corners there. And then I'll do a couple of folds and creases to make it look older as well. And then I just stick that on with some E6000. Now this is a piece of acetate. You could use any kind of clear packaging if you needed to do something like this. But I wanted to put a flower in the middle of this cameo backing that I have. And I thought this would be the easiest way to make sure that my image is going to be centered. So I made a little stencil. The cameo thing came from Amazon. The little flower is another piece of trash. It was harvested from a greeting card. And I'm just using some regular matte Mod Podge to stick that down. And I'm going to take a little bit of my brown wash and age that just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to take Mod Podge Dimensional Magic, which if you've never used it, it will make a dome over the top of this. So it looks like it has glass on it, but it's really just Mod Podge. And that does dry completely clear. Now I'm going to attach some beads to the frame. I'm using the wire that I had on hand, which is thick and black, but it doesn't matter because you won't see it after it gets covered up. And these are more trash. This was a broken piece of jewelry, or it might have even been a broken rosary that was given to me. People like to give me old jewelry to use in my art, which I much appreciate, and it's nice to keep them from going into the trash. And I decided it needed a little bit more, so I added a second chain, but I was off camera for most of it, so that's why the clip is cut so weird. I'm taking these jute flowers. These came in a pack I got on Amazon with some burlap ribbons. They did come with the pearls on them. That first flower, the pearl had just fallen off, and I glued it on again off camera. And then I'm going to take some paper flowers. These, sadly, you can't get online, or maybe you can. I don't know the brand name, but they're sold at a local store where I live. That's like an independent store, and they have a party section, and those were in their party section. These paper flowers are from Amazon, and they are white, so I am using my inks to make them a darker color. And I'm going to glue them on where I want and then use some of that wash to darken the rest of them. And then these itty bitty tiny baby flowers came from Hobby Lobby, and they are the cutest thing ever. And I'm just going to glue them on here and there and there and here, as Bob Ross would say. And these little leaves are from Amazon. They're also paper. Gonna give them that same aging treatment with the archival ink. And I'll just glue them in wherever I feel like they're needed. And these pearls came from Amazon. They're flat back. I'm just going to take some E6000 and plop those on all over where I think looks nice, as well as in the background to cover those seams. And I'm just brightening up her halo with some gold paint so that it stands out a little bit more. And I thought also the gold paint would look nice on the flowers. And I'm just taking some gears and sticking those in between first to add some more of that bronze color. Those gears came from Amazon. And I attached our little dangly parts over on the left there. The smaller dangle is a little clock, which is similar to those gears that I showed you. It also came from Amazon. And I'm just making a backing for this. After I put the fabric on, everything was really flimsy and exposed. So I thought putting a backing on would make it a little bit more secure. So I just cut out a couple of these L shapes and I'm gluing them on with hot glue. And then I'll fill in the little corners with some squares, smaller squares of cardboard. So once that's all done, I'm going to use this wired jute that I got at Dollar Tree to make a hanger for the back. I'm just hot gluing that on. And then once it's in the position that I like, I'm going to put a whole bunch more hot glue over the top just to make sure that those really stay in place. This isn't too heavy, so it should be fine with just this hanger. And then to finish it off, to make it look nicer and also to make sure it's really secure. I'm taking a whole sheet of this packaging material, cardboard, and I'm just going to glue that right over the back. And this is when I realized I had messed up by putting the corners on. I should have put the corners on now so that it was over the cardboard and all of that. Because I didn't do that, I ended up with these really big gaps in the back. So as you can see a little bit better over if you look at the right side, the cardboard is like hugely gapped away from the book corners. So in order to hide that, I'm using some more of that wired jute, and I'm just going to go all the way around the edge of the frame. That way, if you happen to catch a view of the side of the frame, it's not going to look like exposed, gross cardboard. It's just going to look like pretty jute. Anyway, with that, this project is complete. Oh yes, and I forgot I did glue this broken piece of jewelry on there. I forgot to film that. There's also a button up at the top left, a gold decorative button that you'll see. I did not film putting those on, but they're both just stuck on with hot glue. And that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope I inspired you. Comment below, let me know what you think. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. That would really help my channel to grow. And I hope that you're all safe and happy, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.